Hello soulmates, welcome back to the channel. So from my previous video we did the pattern drafting and also the cutting of this dress. If you haven't seen the video I will link it up here, but for this video we'll be doing the sewing of this dress. So this is what the outcome look like. So if this is something you're interested in, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get started. Welcome back guys. Like I said earlier, if you haven't seen the pattern drafting and the cutting video, I'll pin it in the comment section so that you can see. So from the pattern drafting, this is what the front looks like. So this is the blueprint for the front. After we are done, it should look like the smaller one. So this is the back. So it is the second part of this back we slash and spread for it to give us the one you are looking at. So this is the front lower bodies, as you can see. This is the back. This is the back bodies. For you to understand, you just have to watch the pattern drafting and the cutting video. Like I said, I made mine longer because I don't want it short. So I made mine longer. So if you want yours shorter than mine, you can just reduce your length and just make few adjustments to this and you'll be fine. So these are the gathers I will be using. So this is by 60 and the length is about 11 inches, and I cut out about 3 of that. So now this is the front. So we have to make a gathers at this lower part here. But before that, you know where we notched from the pattern drafting, so that will be the folding. And for this folding, I'll be putting an hemming gum in between. I'll be putting an hemming gum in between. Then I will iron it down. So from the notch part, I will iron it down just like that. So this is the back bodies also, you know, we did the same thing too for the back. So I will be folding it in at the notched part. Yes, so that part I'll be folding it in and I'll be placing an hemming gum in between. So if you don't want this method, you can just hem it normally, like let's say half inch, just hem it like sewing. For mine, I just want it glued down so that it can look neat. So after that, the next thing to do is to gather this top and lower butt and the lower part of this front bodies. So we have to gather it to look like this small pattern. So after making the gather, this is what the upper pattern look like. So I left about 1 inch here so that it can fall a little bit below my shoulder. So and this is the lower part. As you can see, the gathers has been made and the remaining parts over there is the sewing allowance. So this is the back also. So the remaining part there is the sewing allowance, and this upper part, as you can see, it is still very much. So I'll still go ahead and make and adjust that. So you do the same thing too for the other side. You know, it is two parts, two at the upper part for the back and two at the upper part too for the front. So after you are done with that, it's time to join them at the shoulder area. So you join the front to the back, then you do the same thing. You do the same thing too for the other side. So you just join. So like this front that is still a bit more than this, I'll just make sure I follow the front. Then I'll just make the gathers just like this. Then I will join it. So after joining, this is what it looks like. So for you to be able to know the front and the back, the front is actually longer than the back, so you don't have to be confused. The front is longer than the back, so when you see the longer part, just know that is the front and the shorter part is the back. So this is what it looks like. So this is one side and this is the other side. So for the front, like I said in my pattern drafting, that I want it to overlap because I don't want the bust area to be showing. That is why I'm overlapping it. But if you want yours to show, to review, you can just make your adjustment to that. So now this is the lower part of the front bodies. Then this front bodies, I'll be pinning it to it. So before I pin, I want to use my pattern to note where it will get to. So for this pattern, I'm just marking the overlapping area. You know, we make an extension to the overlapping area. That is why it won't start from the middle. So this front bodies will not start from the middle. It will start somewhere away from the middle point because of the overlapping effects that we added at the area. So you pin that down, then you also place the second side also. So the second side so will not be starting at the middle point. It will be starting just few inches away depending on where how your overlapping is. So it will be starting few inches away from the middle point so that the overlapping effect can show. Then at this end here, you just pin it towards the end at this side too. So you also pin this side, then you pin the other side. I mentioned in my pattern drafting video that I'm adding a lining to this, and for the lining I'm using the same fabric for the lining. So the next thing now is to place the lining on it like this. So you place the lining like this. So I'm trying to notice the midpoint of the lining so that I can match it to the midpoint of the main bodice too. So I'll pin that down also. Then the upper bodice will be in between the lining and the main fabric, so that when I sew, the sewing will be inside, it won't be showing outside. So that is that for the front. So for the back also we'll do the same thing. So you pin it to this side, but for the back there's a little difference here because of the zipper allowance. So you place it 1 inch away from the end here. So that will be the zipper allowance. Depending on the zipper allowance you added, if you added more than one, just take note of that and then you take that away. So for the lining too, you also pin like 1 inch away, then you pin the end also. So at this point, if you have excess at the gathers of the upper part, you can just try and squeeze it in between that. So I'll also do the same thing too for this second part. For the back, you take 1 inch away, which is a zipper allowance, then you pin the end over there. So you place your lining too just like this, then you pin also. It is compulsory you pin so that you don't make mistake. So you make sure you pin every part that should be pinned, you pin that in. So after pinning, you go ahead and sew. So after sewing, this is what I have. And so for this part here, so I close the zipper area. So after closing the zipper area, I will go ahead and join the side also. So for the front and the back, I will join it together for both sides. So after joining it together, this is what it looks like. So at the lower part of the dress, if you notice it is not equal, you can just go ahead and trim it so that it can be equal. So after the joining at this point, the next thing to do is to make our gathers on this. So for my gathers, it is 60 by 11 inches and I cut out 3 of that. So I went ahead to make gathers and hem the lower part of the gathers. Then I'll go ahead and fix this to the dress. So after fixing, this is what I have. I'm sorry this part is blur. So the next thing to do after fixing this is to just fix your zip and also your armhole area. So this is the back. As you can see, this curve, the back should be curved like this while the front should be straight. And for the armhole, I went ahead to hem it. I just went ahead to hem. You can use the bias to hem yours, but I use the same fabric to hem mine. So this is what it looks like after I was done. So if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked this video, if you haven't dropped a comment, please go ahead and do that now. And you can also share this with your friends that will be interested. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye.